The first stop on the southern leg of our journey was at Satara. Getting to Satara from Letaba has got two major milestones. The first is going past the Olifants rest camp. It's a little bit of a detour, but stopping at the restaurant is well worth it because the view from up here is spectacular. We stopped for an iced coffee and carried on down south to Satara. It was a great place for us to get out, stretch our legs and have a little bit of a break from the car. The second milestone is reaching the central grasslands around Satara, which is a welcome relief from the wall-to-wall mapani of the northern half of the park, which for the most part is pretty unproductive, although you would never say so given the sightings that we had. By the time that we arrived at Satara, it was absolutely cooking, and all of the shady spots in the camp, of which there are not many, had already been taken. After our setup, we were struggling a bit in the heat. The thing about Satara, however, is that the game viewing around the camp is spectacular. The highly nutritious sweetfelt grazing in this area attracts huge numbers of herbivores, including massive mixed herds of zebra, impala, wildebeest and waterbuck. These herds in turn contribute to Satara being one of the very best areas in the park to find big cats. Two roads in particular have earned a name for themselves among Kruger's very best game drive routes, namely the S100 and the S126 Swaney roads, on which we focused most of our time. On our first morning, we joined the queue to the gate early before taking the S100. Less than 1 kilometer away from camp, we stumbled upon this gnarly old looking line lying right in the road. After leaving him and his growing crowd of onlookers, we continued along the S100, following the riverbed, searching for leopards that love using the large fig trees that grow along the banks. Towards the end of this road, having not found any leopards, we were brought to a screeching halt by a very pleasant surprise walking in the road towards us. So where are we sitting on a scale of 0 to 10? How likely are you to try and steal that cheetah cub?
Very. 10.
10. 11. I'd
Yes.
push it to 11. That was crazy. We were only the second vehicle on the sighting. They came up across the causeway and just one cub. Shame, man. He was close to Mom the whole time. Looking where she was looking, following her up the log.
Balancing on the log.
Yeah. I think having a bit of trouble. Wow. Lion and cheetah one morning. S100, baby. Woohoo.
Fingers crossed for a leopard.
I know. Look, now we're getting greedy. Okay, well, let's see. Who knows? This mother and cub were not the last cheetah we'd see around Satara. The following morning on the S36, we bumped into another, this time a lone male, and to make it extra special, we were the first and only car at the sighting for a good 10 or 15 minutes. This footage is the perfect example of why this terrain is so suited to cheetah. Open grassland for high-speed pursuits and just enough cover for them to get close enough to their prey. This male, however, was in no mood for hunting. We watched him move from tree to tree, sniffing and scent marking as he went, very clearly on some kind of a territorial patrol. Once the first cars started to arrive, we continued towards the left turnoff onto the S126 Swaney Road, where we met up with the stars of the Satara show. Lions, lots of them. On this drive we had multiple separate sightings of different groups of lions, including the previous day's old geezer, some females with cubs, and another, 2 large males with a female in the background. If you're wanting to go to the Kruger and see lots of lions, Satara is your place to go.
Oh, kitty cat. Oh, tummy wraps. Psst, psst, psst.
I've never ever seen that before. It's common knowledge that elephant bulls are, let's say, envied by every other male animal on the face of the planet, barring whales, of course. But that elephant bull was scratching its tummy with his penis, which is quite a handy tool to have. I think I've moved on from saying that elephants have 5 legs and 1 trunk. I think it's more a case of 4 legs and 2 trunks. But yeah, good on you, bro. By the time our 2 nights at Satara had come to a close, we had had about a week's worth of big cat sightings. But instead of being downhearted, we were actually quite excited as we were headed for Tamboti tented camp for a bit of a break from roughing it. The area around Tambuti, a satellite off of Dal Restcamps, is also known for its predator sightings, and boy, we were not disappointed at all. Very close to the turnoff to Tambuti, and a culvert under the road, was a small clan of hyena. The group consisted of at least 2 adult females and 2 cubs of differing ages. We saw them regularly, either right at the start of our drives or at the very end. Given how close they were to the camp, we can only assume that this fence line prowler was from the same group. From Tambuti, we headed south to Bergendal for our final 3 nights in the park. Little did we know that we were going to be joined by an unwelcomed visitor. Cyclone Dikeledi. She made headlines after slamming into Madagascar and taking at least 3 lives, and then making her way to Mozambique and the South African Lowveld. Rivers burst their banks, and bridges were washed away within the Kruger, and at one point we were left stranded between 2 low water bridges that were impassable for about 4 hours. We, however, in reality were minimally affected as compared to the hundreds, maybe thousands of Mozambicans and Madagascans displaced from their homes, and worse. For this reason, this video is dedicated to these people worse affected in the storm. In amongst all the stormy weather, we did have clear patches to explore the far south of the Kruger. The area around Bergendal is known for its wild dog and leopard sightings, of which we were lucky enough to see both. Over the course of 3 days, we had 3 separate leopard sightings. The first was this young male. He gave us a beautiful but brief view before heading in the direction of one of the many koppies on the S100 leading up to Bergendal. The second was far off in a tree alongside the gravel S114. It was too far to tell the approximate age and sex of this individual, but with some light drizzle it made for some interesting footage. And the last one that we saw, also on the gravel S114, really seemed like it was having a cock day. For starters, it was being treed by a hyena. The low light made filming the hyena at the bottom of the tree rather challenging, but the irritated expression of the leopard was clear. After the hyena left, Cyclone Dikeledi joined us once again.
Good morning to yet another rainy morning here at Bergendal. And this morning we have found ourselves a leopard in a tree. Very wet. The same cannot be said about my camera. My camera is currently dry because of a stroke of genius on my part.
I'm sorry, stroke of genius on whose part?
My part.
I think this was my idea. Thank you very much.
Stroke of genius on Ella's part. And thanks to Ella, now my camera's dry. Well done. It is now absolutely sourcing. Leopard is stationary. Tourists are behind canvas. I'm leaving the window open in case he comes down the tree.
Yeah.
Earlier I mentioned that Bergendal was known for its wild dog sightings. We found a pack not far from where we'd found the grumpy leopard in the tree along the S114. We heard from some friends that we made at the campsite that they had been returning to the same place for multiple days in a row, which to me sounded as if they might have been denning in that area. As lucky as we were to see them, we only saw them on the one occasion. Our stay in the park was nothing short of spectacular. I love the Kruger, I always have and I always will. The one horrible thing about it though is that every time you visit you have to leave, and it's a terrible feeling. But after our 3 days in Bergendal came to an end, we had to do just that, and so this is where we leave you. Thank you for sticking it out until the end. If you've done so, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and until the next one, cheers.